So when you're cutting up a case, the first thing you're going to need, I'm going to go in the tool drawers here, is you're going to need a hammer, and you're going to need like a centre punch type thing, something to let's get that in focus. Let's drop that, get it in focus, see what it is. Yeah, centre punch type thing to actually bash into your enclosures. Like you said, I've got a couple of blank ones in here, just for prototyping or whatever. They're not as good as you can get pre-coated ones, which is what generally I use. And then you can just print a drill sheet like this. You can see all the things you need to mark. Boom, 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 boom. And you can see actually I've got more things than I need because there's other pedal designs that I use this one sheet for. Once it's worn out, just print a new one. No big deal. And then take it into the garden or a shed or street or wherever, and bash in your punch marks. And then you're going to need some of these step drills. They're pretty cheap, you can get off Amazon. You can see this one, you might be able to see the numbers there. You're mainly going to be using, say, jacks about 6.3, I think, is 6.3 millimeters. So you're going to have to kind of drill and sort of countersink each side in order to get them through. You don't need to drill all the way through to like 8, which is the next depth on it. And actually, that very large one in the middle will go all the way up to being able to put joysticks and pedals and that kind of thing, which requires like 18, 20 mil or something like that. So that's pretty useful. So I've already been doing this morning before work, so I'll show you something we did this morning. Right, let's go. So where did I put it? 2 seconds. Right, so we've got 2 enclosures that we did this morning. See, one of them is sort of like the EVA fuzz, solo fuzz style foot switch in the corner. It looks really scary when you see it like that. There's not enough space, but actually when you look inside, the case is shaped so that there's a slight angle to this, and there's actually space to get that in there. And then we've got a 3-way switch, 4 controls. That's probably the LED. I couldn't decide where to put it on this one because I don't know what the design's going to be. And then there's 2 jacks there and the power supplies on the side. I can never quite decide where's the most efficient place to put all of that actually, because sometimes you put them on one side and the other and then you have a great pain getting everything in the enclosure, and sometimes it's fine. So, I don't know, I guess you have to build some intuition about what's going to work for each design and whether you're doing one-offs or not. If you're not doing one-offs, then you can get somebody else to drill it for you, and that eliminates that problem, because you've got to get it right the first time and you've got to get it right for every subsequent one that the manufacturer is making for you. So anyway, that's one, and this is for a joystick type of thing. You can see how big that hole is. Bam! And that's all made with the step drill. So it is pretty useful in that kind of sense. And again, you can see the inside of that. But you're kind of wondering, how do I put a design on these? Well, the simple answer is you can use just sticker paper. If you get sticker paper, print it out, cut it very carefully to size around the edges of here, and then lacquer it with some spray lacquer. I think it's something on the floor in the kitchen. It looks like this. Just a spray can of lacquer. Do a couple of coats of that, 2-3 coats over the course of a day or so, and that will do the job on top of your stuff. And then if that's not for you, the other thing you can do is spray paint. And I quite like this. I'm actually doing this for a pedal at the moment. It's in the room, I think. So what we've got here, you can see, is we've got a enclosure. It's a symbol knob style fuzz, and we've got a piece of cardboard from a cereal box. We've got it's kind of a disintegration type fuzz, like heavily clipping single knob fuzz. We've got a piece of text on some sticker paper. That's from the Bomb the Music Industry final show, Nothing's Forever Dude. And what we're going to do is we're going to stick that little piece of sticker paper onto the cardboard. Then we're going to use that to spray paint this box with that design. And that's like something I used to do for t-shirts, and I've done for records and all kind of stuff. And it's pretty simple. I mean, you just work out what the size you've got to play with is, use measuring tape, bam, there's one there. Do it in Photoshop, print it out on sticky paper, stick sticky paper to that, and then use your knife, which you've already got for all your soldering and all that kind of shit, and get that sorted, and then spray paint it. And I'll probably cut a bit of video later once I've done that. So anyway, that's like a quick rundown of how you're going to mainly, for one-offs, be working with designs for your pedals. So yeah, hope that was mental if a bit helpful, or helpful if a bit mental, I should say. Right, okay, let's roll. Right, so you can see here, we've now knifed that out. It always takes longer than you think it will, and I always forget this from my t-shirt making more punk days. It's a massive pain to do things this way, but it is a cheap, easy, and it looks cool. It looks really, really cool. So there's that, and you see actually I messed up the F a little bit. So that's really easy. As long as you just quite often, if you mess up the little edges, you can just super glue a little chunk back on, and by the time you spray painted it, you won't actually really notice the difference. The trick with this is going to be to do a very light coat of spray paint, and don't heavily coat, because if you heavily coat, it's probably going to go underneath the letters and smudge, and you don't want that. The only other thing is when you're cutting it out, make sure you've got a fresh blade bit that you've clipped off the last bit, because you need every bit of sharpness to get through this very hairy, wiry type paper. And make sure you cut the corners most aggressively, like really get the blade up into the corners and add extra cuts, just like press it down hard right into the corner of the letters, because it's at the corners that the letters get stuck, and when they get stuck they then rip, and sometimes you get rips that go between letters, and that will also screw up your stencil. So anyway, right, let's get rolling with the spray paint.